we have on the line with us two Titans, two CCP GMs. This is on the tail of us doing our GM Week Fleet Yeet with the most Barbarogas you've ever seen on grid. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CCP Goat and CCP Banquet. Welcome in, everybody.
Hello.
Excellent. Oh, I probably should have done sound check. The sound is actually perfect. Look at us. We did it. We did it.
Nice. It's kind of hard to match your energy, though, so I'm trying over here.
Oh, you don't have to match it. You just show up. It's going to be great. So, welcome, GM Goat and GM Banquet, CCP Goat, CCP Banquet. It's good to have you. I wanted to start off with just, who the heck are you, CCP Goat? Why don't you tell us about yourself, how long you've worked at CCP Games? Tell us about it.
Wow, how long? So, like, both of us are Icelandic, and when EVE Online came out in 2003, it had already been in a beta phase for like 1.5 years, I want to say, and I got mixed into it pretty early, so much so that I had like family ties into the company right when it launched in 2003, and then I played from the start up until 2009 or so, and then I officially joined the company as a GM in 2010. Yeah, it's been a while.
Wow.
I took a little hiatus around 2015, but then I came back at 2020. I've been here ever since.
2010? That's if I get my calculator, 15 years, brother. Yowzer.
I was gonna say you're old, but I didn't want to like jump in. I was definitely not. I was, I think, 9 years old when EVE Online launched, but I've been playing. It's surprising. I've been playing since I was 14 years old in 2007, but it's surprising. Like, I have a very short attention span, but somehow I got stuck in EVE and have been ever since. Going on 18, 19 years now.
Wowzer. That's amazing. Yeah, you're
but
a
I've
little
only
bit...
been working there for 3.5 years, though. Sorry.
Okay. No, totally fine. You can interrupt me whenever you want because I will keep talking, So I've been playing EVE. I made my account in, I think, oh my God, it wasn't like the 2003 babies, It wasn't one of those, but it was like 2000. It was like December 2009, I think. I think that's when I started. Let me look. Yes, it is December 2008. So almost 20 years I've been playing EVE. It's crazy. So that is in fact the better part of 10 years now. That's absolutely amazing. So you both are GMs at the company, and maybe we can start with you, Goat, and we'll just like go down the list. Like, what does that entail? What does it mean to be a GM at CCP Games? Like, this is GM Week, and you guys play with us, but what is your job?
So, first and foremost, it's tickets, right? We are the guys who pick up the tickets that come in. Whether it's like because of payment issues, account issues, I can't log in, my machine can't run EVE, or something happened in game, that's us that you ask. But over the years, it's evolved into being much more. Like, the GMs of EVE have, because like it's a gigantic game and making new features for this game is pretty complex. And often features will come out without us knowing about it. This happened frequently in the past, so that we had no way of actually supporting it. The most famous example, maybe, I don't know if the most famous example is when the abandoned status launched. Somehow that flew under the radar, so that was a mad scramble, and everybody who actually had that happen to them knows that it was a mad scramble, like to assist people when Citadel suddenly went abandoned. It was all fixed. Nothing juicy happened, but I would say answering tickets is what you start out doing, and it's the most important part, of course, but we do so much more as well, assisting almost every other department in the company.
Wow. So you guys and gals are like the oil that keeps the machine running,
Pretty much, yeah. We do a lot of, so here internally with the Icelandic GMs, we do a lot of policy making, who should get reimbursed for what, why, and if they should be reimbursed.
Gotcha.
We also, as Goat was touching on, we also, when expansions happen and new mechanics come out, we have to have the tooling to be able to support them. See, like, if something would happen to you, and we would need to see that in our logging and have tools to rectify it if you were wronged. So we are in a lot of communications with the development team, like directly in communication with the development team, making tooling lists and such, just so we're able to day off expansion, we get something new, and then we're able to support it right away.
That's sick. I love that. And y'all mentioned that. Oh, please go ahead. Yes.
I was going to say there used to be a meme 15 years ago that the logs showed nothing, and the people in
We still claim that though.
Jokingly, sure.
Jokingly.
The people in the department took that pretty personally when players started kidding around that the only answer you ever got out of customer support was the logs show nothing. So the logs were made pretty goddamn good. So
Logs show logs, Chan. That's what they show. Okay, you know. And GMs are such a... Growing up, you always heard about GMs, game masters, you know, like in these other games. You mentioned in our yeet, when we yeeted the most Barbarogas, thank you for that, by the way, that there were these ISDAs, these, like, volunteers, I think you said. Are they volunteer GMs? How does that work? I haven't heard of that.
The ISDs stands for Interstellar... Damn it, I can't remember. What is it?
The ISDA.
Interstellar Service. The
Department.
There we go.
So these guys are volunteers that help with in-game chat moderation. They are the people staffing the rookie help channels and help channels in general. They are the people who are volunteer bug hunters. So they go around and test features. For a lot of stuff. Used to be they handle forum moderation. They do Twitch moderation. They, I would say, are the oil of the machine that we are, like the oil of the cogs that we customer support is, and we couldn't do this without them. We literally have tens of volunteers, like many volunteers for each GM that just help us run the thing. You may see them sometimes in Twitch chat or in forums or in game. They have teal text. It's all very recognizable for a reason.
For example, like the OnlyCats event we've been running at all times of the day, those are all they're all carrying that for us.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. They're the ones that have been doing that. That's super intriguing.
And it's at all hours. Like I wouldn't really want to stay up until 4:30 a.m. and then show up to work at 8. So
no.
They're the real heroes.
Absolutely. The first thing I thought of is there are dozens of us. Dozens! You know, there's so many of them. That's awesome. So this is really cool, Chad. This kind of dispels the myth that some of you think incorrectly that the company doesn't play their own game. Okay, so they're playing their game, but there's no way EVE is so large that you can play and bug fix literally every corner of EVE, all the various little intricacies. I didn't finish college, okay, that are part of the game. So it's really sick that the GM team is there and they employ volunteers to be able to get this going. So I'm super intrigued by how this career path starts. Is this something that you guys have like summer internships for? Like if someone is an aspiring GM, they're in high school and they like playing games and they want to do game testing, is there a way that CCP Games does something like that? How would they start?
I'm probably not a good example, so maybe go. Do you have a kind of luck of the draw-esque kind of with me? But I can go into that story.
It used to be when I joined, the criteria to get hired. So early on, when this was just an Icelandic company, they didn't even have really the means of importing people to be GMs or working customer support. So a lot of it was just locally hired people who could speak English. That was kind of the start. It evolved, of course, and as the game grew more complex, you kind of needed people who were also playing EVE. So the advantages of being Icelandic, speaking English, and playing EVE were kind of the criteria you needed to get hired. And then, of course, as time went by, more and more people in the CCP started being able to hire outside of Iceland, and we started offering people who apply to jobs often get relocation packages to come here, help to relocate to Iceland to work in the office. So now for aspiring GMs, whenever a position opens, you would just, if you play EVE and know a lot of mechanics, and you know a lot of how the game is played, and you know a lot of the people in the game currently, that already gives you a leg up. For like relocation for GMs, I don't know if that is like how far out that would go, but
probably not, right? For GMs.
Yeah, because GMs are considered to be fairly quote unquote low skill, so to speak, but you still need pretty specialized people to do it. You can't hire just anybody off the street to be a GM.
Sure. That's a really good point, actually, that when he says, I forget the words you said, but it means like moving. Like they're not necessarily going to move people for being a GM. Great. Nodding is good. This is
we
super.
have done so in the past, though, and if somebody has like a stellar CV, I'm sure there would be no hesitation on it.
Right. Love that stuff. Yeah, I liked what you said about how skill ceiling. This is something I talk about a lot on my streams about when we're not just talking about EVE, when we're talking about like working in general. This video is going to be interesting, y'all, because I want you to understand that if you have an aspiration to work in gaming, doing GM work is a really good way, in my opinion, to start that, because it doesn't take a lot of, let's call it, very technical knowledge about non-gaming things to get into. Like for my job, when I do marketing, like you have to know how to do Google Ads, and you have to understand website SEO, and there's a lot of knowledge and little bits of stuff that you have to get, and you have to be able to put it on your CV and do all this stuff. But sounds like play EVE well and not yell at people as your default. You know, is that fair?
Yeah, personally, like how I stumbled onto this job, I was working part-time while in full-time college, and I lived with CCP Paragon. You guys probably know him. But he was GM Paragon at the time, and when he was moving positions from being a GM into the community area, he was like, hey, just apply. And I was like, what? What am I gonna scrub the floors? Like, I don't have any qualifications. Sure enough, I applied, didn't think about it. A month later, interview after interview, kept getting rebooked until I finally got the job. And that was mostly because of my customer support background and being an avid EVE player.
That's the way.
I finished my degree, by the way, but it took me 2 years to wrap it up. But other than that, it was perfect.
Excellent. Yeah, I always tell people, if you want to work at a certain field, it doesn't matter if you're a janitor or if you're a front desk person. You know, like, go work in that field, even if it's the job you don't really want. So this is something that I was, when I started my career many, many years ago, I was an intern at a marketing firm, and the COO sat us down and said, hey, there was like 10 of us. There was like 6, 7, whatever it was. There was many interns. And he was like, one of you is going to be full-time in 6 months. And I said, all right. So what's the daily whatever? And it was like, well, we were literally report monkeys. This was before, you know, ChatGPT, before Canva, before these templated things. They would pay interns to like make Excel docs to give to the campaign managers. And my job was to make 10 reports a day. Well, I made 11. I found out how to make 11, and that's why they hired me over all these other people. So this is a really good point, that if you want to get into this, y'all, if this is something that you have aspirations to do, work in gaming, it sounds like GMing, if I can use that term, is a good place to start. So that's pretty sick. So you guys answer tickets. You guys are doing these various work. You're making sure everybody is good to go. We talked about how to get into this. When you're actually like day-to-day GMing, are you like in the game, or are you just like looking at tickets, answering stuff? Is it like, are you nonstop Jira eyes bleed, or are you like actively like in game, like checking on stuff? Obviously you probably can't say everything that you're doing, but yeah, tell me.
We can be pretty transparent. Like, we don't deal so much with Jira as, you know, our QAs, but we definitely, when we get a report of something being broken or whatnot, we have to go in game and then test it ourselves. If it turns out to be true and it is broken, we obviously create a Jira ticket, raise it with the QAs. But I would say I log in probably, when I'm doing tickets, probably 5 to 6 times a day.
Sick. Yeah, that makes sense. I ask because there's a, I'm going to be gentle here because we're on the official channel chat, okay? There's a certain individual who's very popular, who now ex-EVE player, who has accused, let's say, said mean things about the GM team, okay? And the thing that was said was that, like, oh, the GMs were prioritizing certain things. And I know for a fact that y'all are prioritizing things based on, let's call it severity. Is that correct? Am I just wrong? Or is it like number of bug reports? If you get 100 of one thing and 1 of the other thing, do you go after the 100 before you go after the 1? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I mean, if you get 1 report of something going wrong, but you can't replicate it and you're not getting any more reports of it, it's very likely that there's something either client-based or user-based or like machine-based or technical or something that's causing it, right? Even if we never doubt your experiences of what's happening. For instance, like socket closed is an infamous message that comes when your client loses connection to the server. Socket closed can be caused by so many things that we have no control over, because the routing from our server to the ISP for that area, that's pretty much the only thing we can guarantee. So if that goes down, it's on us. If anything happens during the routing from your client to that ISP or to the connection to the server, there's very little we can do other than trying to trace route the thing and see what's happening and if something is dropping somewhere. But something going off somewhere in Europe can affect your connection to the server, which ends with a socket closed. And usually those happen when a lot is happening in the client during, like, I don't know, battles that you don't want to drop during, which of course will make it hurt even more, and you start to think maybe something is wrong, maybe something in the game is causing me to drop connection. Sometimes there is definitely a pattern to it, and sometimes we are able to troubleshoot it eventually. But prioritizing things according to severity, of course. The more tickets we get about something, the more bug reports come in about something, the more credible it is, and the more we try again to reproduce it. But if 1 or 2 people talk about something that went wrong, we take a look at it. If it doesn't look broken, then there's nothing more we can do, really, except like keep our eyes out to see if more comes in.
You mentioned severity, and if something ginormous breaks and it's affecting, let's say, 1,000 players, a whole alliance, whatever the case may be, we generally don't hear it first. It gets raised with a community team, which is like right behind where Goat is sitting. They walk over to us, so there's like this dynamic of pull and push kind of between us. And contrary to popular belief, I'd like to clear one thing up here. If there are 100 reports on your account, we don't automatically take action. Everything is vetted and verified. There is no such thing as mass reporting to get somebody banned or anything
really
like
good to know,
that. Everything gets an eye.
I never thought about that with Eve, just because I never thought about that. But that's actually really good to know, because you know that, again, I'm on the official channel, so I have to be careful, Chad. Okay. There are certain games that's literally an automatic number. Like, oh, they got 99, ban the person. So that's been weaponized by toxic people. That's not a thing in EVE Online. Sounds good, and hopefully there'll be something similar in EVE Frontier and EVE Vanguard as well. So really, really cool to hear that. Yeah, when we talk about severity, someone said in chat, I think it was you, Mafukin, what's up, 07, triaging, totally correct. If one person says, hey, my game client crashes whenever I enter X thing, and then all of a sudden 2 people say, well, game client crashing much more severe than, hey, my shuttle is going double the warp speed. It should, maybe. It depends on what's happening, obviously, but like, go ahead.
I think triaging is just in every single industry. Like, I don't mean to compare the game to like the ER, but that's where it's most prevalent and probably where it's got its name from. So it's just, you have to, every case gets an eye, but not every case is the same, if you know what I mean.
I don't think you're compared to the ER either. I mean, even when I worked at an agency like W2 day job, we would call it triaging. Client comes in and says, I want my creative changed. Well, that's going to be below client coming in and saying, hey, our URL is broken. Like the ad doesn't click, the website link doesn't click. Well, that's very bad, because now people can't, they're 404ing versus like, dude wants it changed from, the picture changed from blue to yellow. Yeah, that's lower than actually getting
it goes without saying.
So, right. Super intriguing. Okay, so very interesting stuff. Goat, Banquet, I really appreciated flying with y'all today. It was sick. I have been sitting at the grid while we've been looking at this, and there is still people salvaging. There is PvP happening. There's just stuff going on. It's very funny to me that there's literally a fishbowl happening on grid where we yeeted the Barbarogue. Is awesome. Jack, can we get some 07s for Goat and Banquet? We'll give you both the final word. Feel free to hype up whatever events coming up. I don't know what the next GM week stream is, but feel free to talk about that. We'll give you all the last word. Thanks for being here.
You want to take it away, Goat? I have an event running tomorrow. It's the usual Live to Feed one, where I invite GMs to join us with the community team. It'll be obviously smaller than this, but we'll do some roaming streaming at around 2 p.m. So feel free to tune in and undock and pwn us.
Yeah, for me, I want to say, again, I want to echo what I said earlier. Like, this community of players, this game is utterly unique in the gaming sphere, so to speak, because we all connect to the same server. We're all a part of the same universe. I know a lot of this is just corporate buzzwords that have been turned into things to make you hype for things that are happening. But if you actually look at it, there have been manhunts like 10 to 5 years ago, when word got out that celebrities played EVE, and people went through the roster trying to find certain celebrities that may or may not have been playing. Everyone who has ever played EVE connected to this server. You can still look back and see all the funny moments that happened, such as Shadow yelling about armor hacks and the big red boat accidentally jumping his Titan instead of bridging. All of these moments that have happened, and like, they are still happening. I think it's a great honor to be in customer support for that, because we are literally there to help people in this game. And like, it's utterly unique is the way I want to describe it. And being a part of it, sure, EVE can be a little, like, essentially this is a submarine boat game in space, like if you think about the actual mechanics of the game. But it looks so pretty, so much work has been put into it, and something about how you have to grind for every single asset you get makes it so meaningful. And I still remember when I lost my first probe to a gate camp by Corp.
Yes,
and
sir.
I still hate those guys. Yeah. Like, there's not a lot of other games. Like, I don't remember my first death in other games. Not like that.
That's a really good point.
And also, one misclick and you're enshrined into EVE Online lore forever.
Yep.
It just depends on what you're doing, which is kind of cool given the single shard universe. It's very unique.
Totally love that. Really good point. Henry Cavill, if you play EVE Online, please DM me. I will help you to learn how to play it better. Okay, so thanks for that. Goat, Banquet, 070 again. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time. Thanks very much. I'm going to mute this, and then we'll talk stream, and then we'll keep it going. All right, chat. That does that. Make sure you check out more interviews from CCP Games and more of our special events right here. And sub right here for the best EVE guides. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more EVE Online. We'll be right back.